Well, here we are. We are now in the World Cup final, and this, of course, is the preview of the World Cup final between France versus Croatia. And for those of you wondering, am I going to be doing a third place preview? The answer is a resounding no. In fact, I don't even know if I want to watch the third place match between England versus Belgium tomorrow, because I just have a feeling that it's going to be like what happened in the group stage game when both of those teams face each other, and both of these teams just played their second string players because they don't really want to win this third place game, and the fact that the wounds are still very fresh from that loss against Croatia. And that game is a game that certainly will be one of the many kind of heartbreak and one of the many kind of what if game that, as an England fan, we'll always remember for a very long time, because we were that close of reaching the final. And even for this World Cup final, it is going to be incredibly hard to watch this, because one of the team that is participating in this World Cup final beat us in the semi-final. So yeah, but without further ado, let's talk about this game. And first of all, I'm wearing a Germany shirt because they won the World Cup back in 2014, and I don't want to wear a France or a Croatia shirt. Well, actually, I don't actually have a Croatia shirt, and I might think about buying it after this World Cup, if they, of course, win it. But I don't want to wear either of those shirts, just so I don't jinx anybody in this World Cup final. And what I'm also going to do in this preview is that I'm going to go over kind of 4 different things I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to be talking about the road that both of these teams took to get to this stage, and I'm going to talk about the amount of goal scored, goal conceded, and their record in this World Cup tournament, and also the goal score that they have so far in this tournament, and some of the other facts about this tournament. And we're going to start with some of the facts about this tournament. This is actually the 5th meeting between both of these teams, and 2 of those 5 meetings was in a major tournament. Both of these teams actually met each other in the knockout stage back in 1998 in the semifinal, which France won that one. And then also in the Euros back in 2004, which I think France also won that one. So France has won both of those matches in the major tournament. And this is also, as I said, this is also the first ever World Cup for Croatia, and that this is the 3rd World Cup final for France since their first World Cup final back in 1998, which they were hosting that World Cup, and that was the last time they actually won the World Cup, and the only time that they have ever won the World Cup. But going into the road to the final and how both of these teams got to it, well, for France, it was definitely not a very kind of good road to the World Cup. I mean, at least at the group stage part, they really made it hard for themselves to actually reach to the round of 16. First of all, they beat Australia 2-1, but that was a match that is always going to be linger with some controversy about the VAR decision and the penalties and stuff like that. And then they beat Peru 1-0, even though Peru looked like they were the better team. And then they had probably the most boring game in this tournament, and the only 0-0 draw so far in this tournament between them and Denmark. And then when into the round of 16, they beat Argentina 4-3, and that was probably one of the best games in this tournament. And then in the quarterfinal, they win 2-0 against Uruguay. And then in the semi-final, in the last game, they were able to beat Belgium 1-0. And one thing that I've seen what France have got into the final and seen how they've been playing in this final is that at times they look like they're nursing to just get over the line and trying to just get over the hurdle so that they don't get knocked out in the knockout stage or lose a game in the group stage, because most of the games has been very close between France and their opponent. And the other thing is France does not score a lot of goals too, which of course we'll get to that. But for Croatia, they of course had a much comfortable group stage. In fact, Croatia was one of the few teams that actually just cruised their way into the knockout stage. They got a 2-0 win to start the campaign against Nigeria, and then they beat Argentina 3-0, and this was certainly one of the biggest talking point, and you could maybe even say one of the biggest upsets in this tournament, because everybody thought that, you know, despite the fact that this is a marquee kind of matchup, nobody thought that Croatia can just blew Argentina away that easily. And then they of course beat Iceland 2-1. And then when they get into the knockout stage, this is where they started to make some history. They become the first team ever to win 3 straight knockout stage game in extra time or in penalties. In the round of 16, they were able to win the goalkeeping battle in the penalty kick shootout 3-2 against Denmark. And then in the quarterfinal, they were able to also win on the penalty kick shootout, and also able to outlast a very hostile kind of Russian team and Russian fans in that quarterfinal game. And then in the semifinal, yeah, we know what happened in the semifinal. I don't really need to mention it anymore. But yeah, talking about the goal score and the goal concede, France have only scored 10 goals in this tournament, which is definitely not a lot. And considering the fact that 4 of those 10 goals was scored in that France versus Argentina game, they technically only have scored 6 goals in 5 games, 5 other World Cup games, which means that they're only averaging just a little bit over a goal per game, which is not a lot. But they only concede 4 goals so far in this tournament, and 3 of those 4 was in that 4-3 win against Argentina. So their defense is definitely very, very solid, and their overall record in this tournament is 5-0-1. While Croatia, of course, they have scored 12 goals so far in this tournament. They concede 5, but they are currently perfect throughout this tournament and have not lost or drew a single game. And I believe they are also the first team to ever reach the World Cup final without losing or drawing any of the game and winning all 6 of the game. And if they, of course, win this one, they will be the first team ever in World Cup history to win all 7 games in the World Cup tournament. And talking about the goal score for each team, the top goal scorer for France was a tie between Griezmann and Mbappe, which is not surprised because you would think both of those guys are the guys that will provide the goals for France. Both score 3 goals in this tournament. And then BH, I think that's how you pronounce, score 1 goal. Varane score 1 goal. Pavard score 1 goal. And Umtiti also score 1 goal. And for Croatia, Perisic with 2, Mandzukic with 2, Modric with 2, Rakitic with 1, Ribic with 1, Kramaric with 1, Vida with 1, and Badic with 1. Again, I apologize if I pronounce any of these names wrong, because you know I'm bad at pronouncing names. But yeah, that is pretty much kind of the background in terms of this match. But now talk about in terms of what I think could potentially happen in this match. Well, I know for a fact that for the first 30 minutes, you know, you could probably just skip through that time, because I have a feeling both teams is going to go very conservative. And that is how the World Cup is pretty much whenever it gets to the final stage, because both of these teams do not want to concede the first goal. The first goal will definitely be very crucial in this World Cup final, and I'm pretty sure for the first 30 minutes they're going to go very conservative. And you know, both of these teams so far, they have shown in the knockout stage, have gone into that kind of conservativity. You know, France in the last match against Belgium gone very conservative and don't even want to attack and just kind of defend. And Croatia themselves, well, they kind of didn't really go very conservative because they were down 1-0. And what's interesting about Croatia is that of all these matches that they have played, they went down 1-0 in all 3 of these round of 16. So they had to come from behind from all 3 of their knockout stage. So maybe saying that whoever scored the first goal might not be as crucial as it is. Maybe if France scored the first goal, you will know that Croatia would potentially equalize and find an answer, because they've done it so far in all 3 of the game. And one thing that I also forgot to mention is that 4 of the last World Cup final has reached extra time. And if this game does reach to extra time, this will be the 4th straight extra time for Croatia. Now, I know that in the England versus Croatia preview, I talk about how fatigue was potentially going to be a factor for Croatia, because they've been playing so many 120-minute games that eventually they're going to get tired out. And I think this is going to be the same case in this game too. As much as in that England versus Croatia game, they didn't look like they showed some fatigue in those games, but when it got to extra time, you can clearly see the fatigue, and you can clearly see some Croatian player that just hit the deck in extra time, that they just have nothing at all anymore. And it will be very interesting to see how they'll do if this game does reach the extra time. And the other thing that I am a little concerned about Croatia is that who exactly is going to score those goals for them. Because I know for a fact that France is going to just nullify that midfield. And if you also look at this overall match, it's pretty clear that France has the more talented squad than Croatia. France have a good attack, good midfield, and good defense. While Croatia, the only thing that I really think that they are very good is the midfield, which, we know that their midfield is absolutely stacked with Perisic, Modric, and Rakitic. But going forward on the attack, that's where the question mark kind of begins. And, also on the defensive end, I wouldn't say the defense is at times very bad, but, against this French attack and against Mbappe and also Griezmann running against this defense, it's gonna be very interesting to see how that's gonna turn out. And if you just look at all 3 of those elements, you would think that France would be able to win this one easily because they have more of the talent. But knowing that this is a World Cup final, and knowing that both of these teams will have that adrenaline rush heading into this game, and knowing that they want to win this game, and really, whenever you get into a cup final, talent-wise just completely wipes out. It's pretty even whenever it gets to this point, because both of these teams want to win this tournament. And I just think that I think France will win this one. If I have to make a prediction of this one, I think France would win this one. And I'm going to even say that they're going to win it in extra time. And I know Croatia has been doing very well in extra time, but this French team, I mean, it's definitely a team that can potentially outlast this Croatian team. Keep in mind, France, they have not played an extra time in their knockout stage so far. All 3 of their games so far has not gone to extra time. So they definitely will be the much fresher team heading into this game. And if they go to extra time, you would think that the advantage will really favor France in terms of fatigue level and also the physical element of extra time, because of the fact that Croatia have been playing extra time in 3 of the game. Although one thing that I will also say is that since Croatia has won all 3 of those games, maybe they will now know how it feels when it gets to extra time and gets to penalties. Whereas if France get into extra time, this will be the first time they got to that. And knowing that France in extra time in a major tournament, it's not a very good record for them. Like, I remember back in 2006 in the World Cup final when they went to penalties, they lost to Italy. And then back in the Euros in 2016, they also lost in extra time in the final game. So, maybe Croatia could maybe pull off an upset. But for me, I still think France, with the talent and the way that I think maybe they can get this one done very quickly. And if they don't go to extra time in this game, then I think France will definitely win this one. But let me know in the comments below, what do you think of this World Cup final? Let me know in the comments what's your prediction for this game, and also what are you looking forward to heading into this game between both of this team. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash that subscribe button, and yeah, I will see you guys next time.